How's it going, everybody? I'm Lewis, and we've got a new developer blog from the Old School RuneScape team. This is for the Ourania Altar, otherwise known as the ZMI Altar, or I suppose if you pronounce it a different way, the ZMI Altar. So what exactly is the ZMI Altar? Well, it was originally released in September 2007, which is just after the cutoff date for Old School RuneScape. At the ZMI Altar, you use pure essence to create a random selection of runes. For each of those runes, you'll get double the usual experience. And as you level up, the runes you receive will improve. So as you get higher towards, say, level 99, you're going to get a lot more blood runes than you do air runes. The Ourania Altar is located just south of West Ardoin, within the Ourania Cave itself. To access the cave, there's a trapdoor right next to the Zamorakian altar around there. When you go into the Ourania Cave and you're going towards the altar, there are two paths you can choose. There's a short path, which has a number of aggressive Zamorakian enemies in there. Or you can go on the long path, which allows you to get to the altar safely, but very slowly. As well as that, there's an NPC called Eneola, which is found at the beginning of the cave, and he can allow you to access your bank in exchange for 20 of any rune. However, if they do implement the ZMI Altar, Eneola will be a bit different from his original version back in 2007. In Old School RuneScape, Eneola would be stationary, so you wouldn't have to worry about him running around, and you would be allowed to predetermine which type of rune you're paying his fee with to actually access the bank. Whereas in 2007, you'd have to go through this horrible interface where you choose the rune and then you go into the bank. Which, as someone that had done a lot of rune crafting there, personally, I would say that wasn't a huge problem. It was just part of using the ZMI Altar. These two changes would just make going to the ZMI Altar a lot faster and will definitely increase the experience rates just a little bit. However, obviously it will make using the NPC a lot less tedious. If the ZMI Altar is going to be introduced to Old School RuneScape, they're also going to introduce the Ourania Teleport onto the Lunar Spellbook. This is a teleport which RuneScape 3 has, and it was utilised by pretty much everybody that used the ZMI Altar for rune crafting. The teleport requires level 71 magic, the completion of Lunar Diplomacy, would cost 1 lore rune, 2 astral runes, and 6 earth runes to cast. As well as that, it will provide 69 experience. If we do get the ZMI Altar, I think the Ourania Teleport will actually be worth getting in game. I remember in RuneScape 3, the only reason that I really did Lunar Diplomacy was so I could get the Ourania Teleport, and then I could do ZMI runecrafting. And even before that, I actually runecraft 10,000 lore runes and 20,000 astral runes, just so I had a lot of runes banked to do all these teleports. And I think I used like a mud staff or something for the earth runes. Moving on to the experience rates. Like we touched upon before, the runes you get from the ZMI Altar improve as your runecrafting level gets higher, and therefore the amount of experience you get at the altar improves as you get higher. Based on what they've seen in the past with the ZMI Altar, this is what they're estimating the experience rates to be about. So we can see the experience rates here, and personally I'd say I feel that the ZMI Altar is surprisingly balanced. You can see it starts off with a low amount of experience and it goes all the way up to quite a high amount of experience. However, the problem with the ZMI Altar is that at low levels you can get a significant amount of experience, especially when you compare it with current runecrafting experience levels. I would say anything up to level 80 is too much experience from the ZMI Altar, and it'll be really hard to actually change how much XP an hour the ZMI Altar would give at that sort of level, unless they played about with the randomness of which runes you get. And let's be honest, people probably don't want that to be changed from what they originally had in 2007. At higher levels, obviously, we've got a lot of things in Old School RuneScape now that actually provide similar experience rates. For example, soul runecrafting. However, I believe with blood and soul runecrafting, you have to get your own dark essence, which significantly slows down the process of actually getting the XP an hour. So when you think about the fact that you don't have to get dark essence, these experience rates are actually significantly high. So like I touched upon before, I feel that this could be somewhat balanced. However, when you compare it to the current XP rates and what you have to do to get those current XP rates, I would actually say that this is just a little bit too much, especially at the lower levels. So on the next poll, what are they going to be asking us? Question 1. Should the Ourania Altar, also known as the ZMI Altar, be introduced into Old School RuneScape? The Ourania Altar would allow you to craft pure essence into a random selection of runes, providing double the usual experience for each rune crafted. And question 2 is, if the Ourania Altar is introduced into Old School RuneScape, should the Ardoin Cloaks 2 and above provide additional runes when crafting pure essence at the altar? These additional runes would not provide any additional experience. So looking at these two questions, the first one, I'm somewhat conflicted with. I have enjoyed the ZMI Altar in the past. However, when I look at the experience rates, and especially when I compare them to the current Old School RuneScape experience rates, I would say it's too much of an improvement. It's like 1.5 times more experience gained, and that completely changes the runecrafting scene. I mean, from level 1 to 80, I would say definitely a heck of a lot more experience. And then from 80 to 99, well, the amount of experience you can get in that with Blood and Souls is somewhat similar. However, you then have to get yourself, like we touched upon before, some Dark Essence. So there's an obstacle in the way of getting that higher amount of experience per hour, which is quite nice. Whereas with the ZMI Altar, there's no real barrier to stopping you from getting the really high level experience per hour, which I find somewhat ridiculous. And that's one reason I've been opposed to adding it to Old School RuneScape for such a long time, and I'm continuing to oppose it. I do think it was a nice piece of content. However, what it's going to do to the runecrafting scene is just something I don't want to see. Runecrafting is something very special to me. I've been doing it since 2008. I've not even been good at it, but I've enjoyed it, and it's always been there, and I don't want to see it messed up by simple updates where the experience just gets way too much. Although, to be fair, it worked fine in RuneScape 3 for such a long time with the Ourania Altar. It was just when RuneSpan came, it really ruined runecrafting. And I suppose I just don't want to see that again. And the second question is something I was completely unaware of, but in RuneScape 3 it has it. I can't see any major reasons to not get it, but I also don't have any reasons to support it either. I've never really been big on the achievement diaries, so benefits on those I've sort of always ignored. I know a lot of the things are very useful, and I probably should do my achievement diaries just to get those items, but I'm way too lazy to do that sort of thing. Do you think we should get the ZMI Altar? Let me know in the comments below. Click here to watch my video on the latest Old School RuneScape news post, the Deadman Invitational 3. And if you want to watch my video on the latest Old School RuneScape update, please click here for the Superior Slayer Encounters. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share, and if you want to keep up to date with the Old School RuneScape updates, devblogs and polls, please subscribe. I've been Lewis, thanks for watching, goodbye.